Welcome everybody. Today we're going to have an important conversation about changes that are coming in the 911 emergency dialing regulations in the U.S. market. And I have the special honor of having a great and diverse panel of experts here coming with various expertise and disciplines that are important to this topic. My name is David Leach. I'm a product marketing manager here at Cisco Systems, and I'm joined today by Jamel Vincent, Senior Corporate Counsel here at Cisco. I've got Kashif Masnoon, Product Manager here at Cisco. I've got Joe Ruska, who's the Cisco Partnership Director at RedSky and Everbridge Company. And I've got Kushik Ramamurthy, an Engineering Product Manager here at Cisco as well. So quite a diversity of expertise we're bringing to the conversation today to talk about the changes that are upcoming, pending in January in the US 911 regulations. And we're all familiar with Kerry's Law, which kicked into effect last year in January, covering the fact that when somebody dials 911, no other digits are required for that call to go out. Notification that the call has been placed to some special party identified within the organization. And then RAY BAUM'S Act also kicks into effect, and there's some changes coming up in RAY BAUM'S Act, and that's where I'd like to turn to Jamel here to give us a little insight on what is changing here within regards to the 911 regulations, Jamel.
Yeah, thanks, David. I appreciate that. So I want to start off by saying that, these are certainly complex issues. So I do encourage you to speak with your legal professionals that work in your organization about what your specific obligations are. I'm certainly more than happy to sit down with you and your legal team to offer my expertise as well, because I do understand that these are very complex issues. And again, my legal disclaimer, nothing I provide here is legal guidance. I'm just hoping to help you guys understand the type of conversations that you should have with your legal team. So what's happening is, if you could imagine, Congress was concerned that with the evolution of new technologies, that when public safety answered a call in an apartment building or other multi-line telecommunication systems, telephone systems, like a hotel or an office building or any other large enterprise building, that law enforcement, firefighters, and others would not have the information that they needed to properly locate the person that's in distress. So what happened was, as David alluded to before, Congress drafted Kerry's Law and RAY BAUM'S Act. So Kerry's Law I'm not going to get into. RAY BAUM'S Act has two parts. The first was for on-prem fixed devices. That deadline has passed, so I'm not going to elaborate on that any further. But what we're here to discuss today is a deadline that's coming up January 6, 2022. So as of that date, the requirement is for multi-line telephone systems to be able to deliver dispatchable location information to the local public safety answering point. Now, the entities that the law covers are manufacturers, importers, sellers, lessors, installers, managers, and operators. I think for the purpose of this conversation, most of the people listening in will be installers, managers, and operators. So what that means is, after the statutory deadline of January 6, 2022, that you need to make sure that your MLTS solution is capable of providing dispatchable location information to the local PSAP, public safety answering point. And that dispatchable location information, according to the FCC, is the address plus other available information, for instance, like the cube number, the floor that the individual is on, so on and so forth.
Excellent.
Now
so January 6th.
One more comment, David. So there is a grandfather clause within the law that you should also be aware of, but that deadline has passed. The grandfather clause said that MLTS solutions that were designed, installed, manufactured, et cetera, prior to February 7th, 2020, did not have to comply with this obligation. But something that you should be discussing with your legal professionals is, to what extent is my upgrade of my MLTS solution now requiring me to comply with these RAY BAUM'S Act requirements? My impression, and again, I'm happy to discuss it with your legal professionals, is that if you're making substantial upgrades to your MLTS solution that change the functionality in a meaningful way, that could very well trigger responsibility to make sure that you comply with RAY BAUM'S Act. Thanks, David.
Excellent. Perfect clarification. Thank you for that. And Jamel, what are the penalties for non-compliance?
Yeah, so again, so this is another area where the FCC has not published much guidance on it. So it is debatable among, legal experts, but ultimately it could result in tens of millions of dollars in fines if in fact you do not comply with the obligation.
All right, well, you got my attention there. So Kashif, let me turn to you and get a perspective here on what Cisco is doing to help our customers comply with these US 911 regulations.
Yeah, so thanks, David. Yeah, I'm happy to say that Cisco is doing what's right for the customer. So what we are doing is we are partnering with RedSky. RedSky is a national emergency provider. So we are partnering with them to essentially provide a tool set of options for the customers to go in and meet their compliance requirements. And we are also making changes to our own solutions. So for example, the Webex app already has been updated as of a couple of weeks ago to provide option for customers or for users to update their address as they move around. We are integrating the Webex calling solution to the RedSky solution so that every network device, every user has a dispatchable address in the system. All these tools are included in the cloud calling subscription, so without the need to buy anything to supplement your calling solution. So if you have a cloud calling subscription with Cisco today, these tools are part of that.
Excellent. And so what you're describing is Cisco's nomadic E911 service, right?
That is correct, yes.
What calling solutions are covered by this?
So we are covering the Webex calling. We are covering Webex calling dedicated instance. We're covering UCM Cloud, and we're covering UCM Cloud for government. These 4 solutions for all the users that are in the US. So as Jamil said, right, these regulations are not based on where the customer is headquartered, but they're actually based on where the end users are located. So as long as those users are within the US, these services are available for those users. The customer could be headquartered in APJ, they could be headquartered in UK, Germany, wherever. But if they have end users in the US, those end users can avail these features.
Excellent. So any customers with any of these cloud services from Cisco, their US located employees are going to be covered by this.
Correct.
What's the cost going to be for the customer?
Nothing from a availability perspective. There could be some cost in how they implement this, but from making this feature available, we are including it in the subscription. Better still, there's not even a reason for the partners or Cisco account teams to go in and do any modification to the subscriptions. So they just have the service, they're already using cloud calling. This gets added as the new features in the cloud calling solution. All the customers have to do is talk to their Cisco salespeople so these services can be activated for them.
Excellent. That sounds like a great plan. And you mentioned RedSky several times there, and that's a name that should be familiar to people. That's a name that really is synonymous with emergency call handling there. We've got Joe Ruska here from RedSky, and Joe, I'd like to hear from you for a moment here. What do customers need to do to ensure that they are in compliance with the new additions to the RAY BAUM'S Act?
Thanks, David. Good to be part of the panelist here. So customers need to ensure they are providing a dispatchable location for all of their employees, regardless of whether they are working in the office, working at home, or working at Starbucks. And so when that customer or employee dials 911, we need to make sure that a dispatchable location is sent to the appropriate PSA. So by deploying RedSky, we help customers to meet that compliancy requirement for both the federal guidelines as well as the state guidelines. And so some state guidelines are more strict than the federal. And so we make sure that we encourage our customers to speak with your legal counsel to make sure that you are meeting the local requirements that for compliancy.
And with the RedSky solution, what are the features that are built into that service that really make it possible for the phone system to send a proper, accurate, dispatchable location to the emergency responders?
So when the RedSky solution is configured properly, we know the location of every device. And so inside the customer's organization, so all 911 calls are routed to RedSky. We determine where that device is or call is coming from. We in turn route that call to the closest public safety access point, also referred to as the PSAP. The soft phone users, when they are in the office, we know exactly where they're connected to, which access points. However, I take my soft phone home and now I'm connected to a new BSSID. Same thing if I take it now to Starbucks or I take it to Panera Bread, here's a new BSSID. And as a result, I am going to get prompted to put in a new address or the address that I'm actually located at. As I go and type in my address, we are validating that address against what's referred to as the Master Street and Address Guide, also referred to as the MSAG. And so now we know exactly where that individual is located. God forbid they should have to dial 911 from their device.
Excellent. And everything you just described is included within this nomadic E911 service that Cisco is supporting. Are there any additional services you would recommend for customers?
So the first thing we're going to want to recommend is that you, the customers, are working with your partners and that your partners have actually gone through the training to make sure that they are configuring your system accordingly based on the number of offices, based on the floors, and how granular you need to get to be compliant. And so that's important. Customers also have the ability to add on our E911 Anywhere Plus bundle. And so what does that mean? So we have the ability to take that 911 call and route that call to a security desk. So think about it, if you've got a multi-floor building and you have a centralized security desk, we can take that call, put it on the phone of the security personnel. They now have the ability to listen into that call. They also have the ability to barge into that call if that customer or that employee can no longer speak on their behalf. Think about school districts that have a dormitory. And so now maybe public safety is listening in. It's a locked facility. The public safety officer can turn around and get on the call with the PSAP operator and say, have them meet me at the front of the building. I will get them into a locked facility and get them up to the location. And so that's really important. We also record those calls and we'll save that for up to 30 days.
Excellent. Wow. Yeah, that sounds very important there. Kushik, I'd like to turn to you here for a moment. And a lot of what we've spoken about has really been related to fixed devices, but I want to make sure that we cover, the soft clients and the Webex app in particular that people might be using when they're on the go, working from the office, coffee shop, or what have you. So in that case, what is the Webex app doing to support this 911 location identification?
Thanks, David. That's a great question. The Webex app is now enhanced with a capability called as the held protocol, which has the ability to deliver the location to RedSky over HTTP. So the Webex app also has the capability now to detect network changes, which Joe was mentioning about. When you move into your home or when you connect to a cafe Wi-Fi network, the Webex app now has the ability to detect those network changes and intelligently prompt the user to input an address which is used as the emergency service address in those locations. So thereby, now when the user is in an off-premises location, the user is automatically prompted to input their address, and the whole functionality of sending emergency services can be achieved using that method. In addition to that, the Webex app has been enhanced in such a way that if you are visiting the same network again, it does not prompt you for the address. It remembers the last connected Wi-Fi access point and it says that, okay, you have visited this access point already and I'll use this address. I know the address. So thereby the users don't get annoying prompts frequently.
Nice. That's excellent news. Don't want to be annoying there. What about our customers? We've still got a lot of customers who are using the Jabber client. So what do customers using the Jabber client do?
Yeah, even for Java, we have a great solution. So even though the Java client by itself was not enhanced, we have a companion app called the My E911 app, which can be installed alongside the Java app. The My E911 app has the same capabilities of detecting network changes and has the ability to prompt the user to enter the address, and thereby the Java customer base can also get the same benefits of providing off-premises emergency addresses through this solution.
Excellent. Good. And with Cisco, everything really revolves around our customers and our partners. What do our partners need to do to help their customers achieve compliance? What are your recommendations there?
As Joe mentioned earlier, the partners are highly recommended to go through an onboarding training offered by RedSky, so that will help them to get educated about this whole solution and answer their customers and help their customers in the correct way. Moreover, the advantages of the onboarding will give them a RedSky account wherein they can have their customers within their tenant, which makes it easier to provide managed service offerings. So we strongly recommend our partners to go through this training and help their customers by providing proper guidance that they achieve through this.
Excellent. Great. Great advice there. All right, so I want to come back to you for a moment here, Kashif. We've talked a lot about the cloud-based services that Cisco offers. How do non-Webex calling customers who are using on-premises solutions like, say, the Unified Communications Manager or Spark Call, how do these customers get access to these services?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So yes, we do cover Webex calling and UCM cloud with this offer. However, customers that are using on-premise UCM, they still have the option to get exactly the same set of services, but delivered at a cost by RedSky through Solutions Plus. Solutions Plus, for those who don't know, are essentially partner offerings that come under the Cisco banner. So RedSky has SKUs in Solutions Plus. They can get the same service for their on-prem customers, on-prem users through that. Also for Spark Call, that Spark Call is not natively integrated with RedSky, and what we are doing there is we have a very, very good offer to migrate Spark Call users to Webex calling right now. So if you are a Spark Call customer, I would highly, highly recommend talk to your Cisco salesperson and ask them how you can get on board on the latest, greatest Webex calling versions.
Excellent. All right, I got one last question here for you, Kashif, and that is, what does a customer need to do to activate this service, gain access to this service?
Yeah, so what we've done, like I said earlier on, right, that you don't need to go to CCW or do a change modification on your subscription or anything like that. What you need to do is talk to your Cisco salesperson or your partner salesperson. What we have done is we have created a bot available on Webex App, and partners and Cisco people as well as customers essentially can use that bot to submit their information and get an account created on RedSky. And once they have that account created, that also activates their services, and then they can go and configure those. So if you are a customer that is that has these services through a partner, go talk to your partner, ask them that you want these E911 nomadic E911 services activated for you, and the partner should be able to do that. Or if you work directly through Cisco salespeople, go talk to Cisco sales account manager or SE, and they should be able to help you get these services.
Excellent. That sounds simple enough. So thank you, panelists. That's a great coverage. I think we covered all the key points there. In summary, what's changing here is that the E911 regulations in the U.S. for nomadic users now need to make sure that when they're dialing 911, that an accurate location address is dispatched to the emergency responders so that they'll know where to go to help those users. And that this service is provided through Cisco's Webex Nomadic E911 service that is included for all US-based users for Webex calling, Webex calling, UCM Cloud, and UCM Cloud for Government. So those Cisco Cloud services are all covered. And we've got ways to cover all of our other customers as well on premises-based solutions. So with that, we've got you covered, and reach out to your Cisco or Cisco partner account team to make sure that you've got everything in place to get yourself all set up and ready to be in compliance with these latest updates. Thank you all, and thank you panelists for joining me today, and I wish everybody a great and successful 2022. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, David.